All right, sixth graders. Lesson 69, length of segments, complementary and supplementary angles. And let's remember, for something to be a line, you've got to have arrows on the end. I can have points along that line if I want. I can name them A, B, and C. And some different things. If I was talking about starting at A and then going on into, I could call that ray AC. If I just wanted to talk about the line between A and B here, I could call that segment AB. And if I wanted to talk about the whole blue line, I could call that line AC. So remember those different labels for rays, segments, and lines. We can also do some math computation here and figure out if we know the distance between A and C, and we know the distance between B and C. Say this is 10 and this is 6. We could determine that over here between A and B that'll be 4, because 4 plus 6 has to equal 10. Let's take a look at example 1. I've got a segment here, some points on the ends, M is in the middle, so L, M, N. They tell me the length of L to M is 4 centimeters. They tell me the length of L to N is 9. So that means I need to figure out M to N. What is that? And that's going to be 9 minus 4. That will be 5 centimeters. So that should be review. Let's go on to angles. We're going to talk about complementary angles. Complementary angles, they have to equal, when put together, they have to equal 90 degrees. So for example, a 45 plus a 45 degree angle equal 90. Or a 30 degree plus a 60 degree will equal a 90. Or a 15 degree plus a 75 degree will equal 90. So these are called complementary angles, because when they're put together they equal 90 degrees. Now, we know a 90 degree angle looks like this. And if I were to go ahead and divide that like this, and I were to say, well, this angle down here, the red angle, is a 35 degree angle, then I could fairly ask you and say, what is this angle up here, the green one? And because they are complementary, they're in a 90 degree angle, we know that 90 minus 35 is going to be 55. So we could tell you that that angle right there is a 55 degree angle. So those are called complementary. They complement each other. The next type of angle is called a supplementary angle, and that has to equal 180 degrees. So again, if I have a 120 degree angle, then 160 will equal 180. Or if I have a 100 degree angle, then the second one must equal 80. Or if I have a 90 degree angle, then the other one's going to equal 90 degrees. So these here are supplementary angles. Now, if you remember, a straight line is 180 degrees. Okay? So that if I take another line and I divide it, say like this, then I say, what's the measure of this blue angle over here, and what's the measure of this red angle over here? I know the total, because they're supplementary, have to equal 180. So this red angle right here, what's the measure of that? And this blue angle right here, what's the measure of that? But together, they make a nice straight green line down here. So I would say the total has to be 180. So if I know the measure of the red angle, say, is 60 degrees, then the other one's going to have to be, well, we could do some math if we couldn't do it mentally. 180 minus 60, that's going to equal 120. So we know the blue angle then is 120 degrees. They have to equal 180, so they are supplementary. Another way that we can look at this also is with a parallelogram. Okay? With a parallelogram, like your book shows, if this is a 75-degree angle, this will be 105, because if I were to take this side over here and keep making this a straight line, this angle right here matches this angle perfectly. So if I can give myself a new parallelogram down here, I'm going to change one angle. I'm going to say this up here is 80 degrees, and they're only going to tell me one angle I can find. The rest of the angles I can say, well, the opposite angle will also be 80. And then if I were to continue this line up here, this angle is going to match this one down here. So for this one to be supplementary, it's going to be 100 degrees. So this one will be 100, and opposite of the 100 over to here, this one also has to be 100. So with only knowing one angle measure, we can solve this type of problem. They could also give us a parallelogram like this. Say the measure of that angle out there is 110 degrees. Well, and then I know in here that's going to be supplementary, so this will be 70, and this will have to be 110. The opposite of 70 over to here, this one will have to be 70, and the opposite of this one over here will have to be 110. So lots of ways to figure these types of problems out. Example 2, in the figure at the right, the measure of angle RWT is a right angle. So we've got R, S, W, T, and Q. These are all lines. These are all points on that line. All right. Which angle is the supplement of RWS? So RWS is right here. Supplement, remember, it has to equal 90. So that means it's going to be this angle down here. So the supplement to RWS, so for A, my answer would be SWT, or it could be TWS. So I'm going to say SWT. That's the answer to A. B, which angle is the complement to RWS? So again, we go back to RWS here, RWS, and what will make supplement, so 180 degrees. So that's going to be this angle right here. It's going to equal those two together. These two together are going to equal 180. So if this angle, so I'd say the answer to that one is angle, again I say RWQ or QWR. So I'm going to say QWR would be the complement there. That's it for today. You can get started 6